team, welcome back to my YouTube. We had a couple of weeks of getting out and seeing some amazing mansions. I know you guys also have now seen my mole removal. I still haven't had any results back yet, so no news is hopefully good news. You are going to see that there's some furniture around me. Don't tell anyone, this is the first sneak peek into the house because I have nowhere to film now with no furniture. That's funny, isn't it? And we had so many months of just no furniture. I was like, for God's sake, I just want furniture. And now I'm like, oh, we've got furniture everywhere and no one's meant to see any of it. So, I know that we obviously had a quick catch up about rentals and how different people had different scenarios when it came to renting. And you know what? I had the best response. I have since had one of the girls I had on with me message me a picture of the outside of her new house. I was like, oh my God, like your advice really helped. She was the girl that managed to get out of her contract early, which was amazing. So I'm glad that, like I said, at least I could help one person, I'd be happy. So I've helped one person, that's it guys, time out, bye. No, joking, I'm still here to annoy you all. So this week, obviously I put on a quick questionnaire of any questions for first time buyers. The response I had was huge. And there was a lot of questions as well regarding mortgages. Obviously I am no mortgage advisor. If I was, then I would be a lot cleverer. However, I have got an amazing mortgage advisor, which I'm going to get on and have a chat with him next week. Or maybe the week after, in a couple of weeks, depending on what's going to come out next week, really. But I have got one in the pipeline for you. So any questions from mortgage advisors, we can certainly ask them. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you as much as I can when it comes to the buying process. So fingers crossed, there'll be more people I can help. It was very chaotic for me when I was trying to do the phone. Oh, me and Boo. Oh, look at us. It was very chaotic when I was trying to do the phone, while speaking to you guys, whilst giving the advice. So I'm going to just go through the Q&A which I put out and the questions that came up. Tell me how you prefer me to do it. Do you prefer having other people on that give me the scenarios and I answer it, or do you prefer me just chatting via the Q&As? Let me know, because I knew it was quite chaotic, but obviously I didn't know how to change that. So so I obviously put it out. The response was phenomenal, so I'm going to go through it all with you now. So I've got the questions here. I had somebody said how much money I'll need to buy all the furniture. For me, this wasn't really a question on the buying side of things, but you know I love homeware, so I was like, girl, I'm answering it. My answer to that is you can spend as little or as much as you like. I've actually even personally got stuff for this house, which is charity shops, also Gumtree, as well as that, you know, Facebook Marketplace I'm actually really gutted I don't have Facebook. So I actually asked my sister if I can use her Facebook sometimes to go on Facebook Marketplace. As well as that, I've discovered this new app called Neighbourhoods. Teddy laughs at me all the time because I sit on it of an evening and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, Sandra up the road, Santa bin's nicked. Or, I mean, Steve, he's not happy. Not happy at all. His decorator didn't turn up and he's a decorator. I find it jokes. It's called Neighbourhood and it's really great. And Teddy just laughs at me all the time for it. But people put stuff on there and I'm always like, oh my God, I need the bookcase. So I would say as little as much as you want. If you're gonna go all new, which actually I wouldn't advise anyone to, if you're first home, I would say try and get as much gifted, as much secondhand stuff as possible, keep it as cheap as possible, get to know how much you're gonna be spending each month on your mortgage, your bills, that kind of thing. And then you can replace it as you go, upcycle it, get rid of, again, the stuff that you purchase secondhand or donate it to a charity shop. They love things like that. Just make sure, my only bit of advice when it comes to furniture, make sure you keep on as many of the fire label tags as you possibly can. Definitely on your bigger bits of furniture like your sofa, you can just literally tuck it in under the seating, or your bed or your mattress, or like tape it up underneath, because a lot of any charity shop can't actually take it unless they've got those fire labels on them, so make sure you've kept them on. Next question was, is now a bad time to buy a home? I would love to know this myself. I'd love to have that little crystal ball and let you guys know. However, I don't, which is such a shame. What I would say is the market at the moment is mad. Prices are huge, especially for places outside of the larger cities, but with really good easy commutes, really good transport links. I would say prices will drop. At the end of the day, we are in the middle of a pandemic. We are going to have to pay for this pandemic at the end of the day. Do I think house prices will drop down? I do. However, it's not looking like it's happening anytime soon, does it? Like, we thought when we went into the pandemic, every estate agent was like, oh my God, like, everyone believed that the housing market was going to crash. It did the polar opposite. It was super, super busy. And then now everyone's like, okay, well, it's got around soon. I'm pretty certain, and now it has slowed down a bit compared to when the pandemic started. But I think people realised, particularly like where they wanted to be, what they really wanted, that actually they could work from home, so they could get more for their money if they moved out of the larger cities. So yeah, I do think it will calm down. I just can't tell you when. And if it doesn't, don't shoot the messenger. Like I said, no crystal ball here. We had another one, step by step would be good. When buying a house, there's not really a step-by-step guide. Do you know what I'm gonna say? My biggest bit of advice is make sure you enjoy it. Buying a house can be so stressful, but it's actually a really exciting time. Make sure that you're enjoying it. Like, I'm not being funny, we used to get so many calls as estate agents, people not very happy, people obviously making complaints. And I used to be sitting on the end of the phone. I always just say my favourite saying would be, trust me, babe, I really want this sale to go through, probably more than you do, because I don't get paid unless this sale goes through, which means I actually can't pay for my own house and my own mortgage. I can't pay for my own bills. So if there's anyone that's pushing your sales, it is always your agent, because no one gets paid until that house is sold. So they do not get paid until completion. So make sure that you've got that in the back of your head. Try and keep it like really, it wants to be fun. Like, you don't want it to be stressed. Step by step, I would say make sure you visit your mortgage advisor first and foremost. Have a little chat with them. It needs to only be really an informal chat. Let them tell you how much they reckon you can borrow. They'll let you know if you need to save more of a deposit. They'll let you know about different schemes that they can potentially help you with. So make sure you go to your mortgage broker first. Don't set your heart on something or an area and then go to your mortgage broker and then potentially have those dreams shattered. So make sure you see your mortgage advisor first. Then obviously I would say make sure you try and pick your location. Have a sit down or have a think, either with your partner or if you're buying on your own, amazing. But make sure you know your musts. Make sure you know, obviously, what you absolutely cannot live without. So again, you know, I have this all the time. Make sure if you really want a south-facing garden, you look at the roads like that you want to be on. Make sure you look at the particular areas you want to be. If you've got children, look at the schools. You know, you can look at the crime rates online. Little things, make sure you check your Deliveroo app and make sure that there is definitely takeaways near you. Make sure that your drive can fit on the driveway. Do your own research. Don't just obviously expect your agent to be ringing you with properties and be like, oh yeah, no, I've got this property, come on, I think you'll love it. At the end of the day, they want to sell that house, so they're going to be making those calls to between 20, 30, 40 people about one particular house. Make sure you're hot on it, you know. Then obviously, when it goes to your sales side of things, you've obviously gone to view the property. Make sure you do a second viewing. I always say do a second viewing. The first viewing will only ever be about 15 minutes. So make sure you are doing a second viewing, and if you want longer, make sure you request longer. Take your family, take your friends round if you really want to, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. I've had so many people that are like, I love this property, and then their parents have come and be like, oh, I don't like that, or I don't like that. You're buying that property for you, so make sure you love it and sod what anyone else thinks. That's my advice on that. Then you've got obviously your offer. Make sure your offers are strong. At the end of the day, I always say, definitely in sales, a house is only worth what it's worth to you. If it's your dream property, it's going to be worth so much more to you than an investor wanting to buy it. Then you've got obviously your offer. Make sure your offers are strong. At the end of the day, I always say, definitely in sales, a house is only worth what it's worth to you. If it's your dream property, it's going to be worth so much more to you than an investor wanting to buy it and then rent it out. They're going to want to get it at a cheaper price. They're going to want to look at the revenue. They're going to want to look at the return. So that property is going to be worth less to them than it would be to somebody that's their dream home. And it's only ever worth what it's worth to you. And at the end of the day, you know your budget, you know what you can afford, and as long as you don't stretch yourself, you're always going to love your home. You're always going to love where you are. And also make sure you know you can change things. So when people walk into a place, they're like, oh no, I don't like it because the walls are magnolia. It's a bit of paint, babe. Like, you can literally paint it. Then it goes obviously on to your solicitor. You instruct your solicitors, and then your searches will happen. So you'll do like your fact finder and stuff. But as a buyer, you'll pay for your searches, and then your searches will happen. Your mortgage advisor and your bank that you're lending the money through will also conduct a survey. You can either choose for a home buyer survey or a full structural survey. I always say a structural survey, always make sure that you do it on older properties. Newer properties, I don't think always need it as much. Definitely if they're built in the last 20 years. But again, don't take my advice on it. If you're always wanting to be wary, make sure you get that structural survey because they will check everything. So a home buyer is just when the surveyor goes out and makes sure the bank are happy to lend against the property the amount that you've offered. So that will happen. Your searches will happen in the background. That's like your environmental search, like your water search, your authority search. These things take the most time. Believe me, they take the most time. They've got to go through all the council, the water, everything. So that happens, and it takes a while. And a lot of things, people sit there and think nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? And it is purely because it's all happening in the background. No one can really give you an update because they'll be waiting for those searches to come back. And once they all come back, that's then when the inquiries happen. So you will have an inquiries, as a buyer, your solicitor will ask inquiries off the back of that, of those searches. So that could be, they might have found planning permission in your back garden. So they'll want to know why. They would have found, the water board may have told them that the pipes have been changed. There'll be inquiries like when that happened, when the boiler was, little things like that. So that will happen, and then your contracts will be drawn up. So it will be a draft contract. Your draft contract will be drawn up for you. You have the chance to read that, but obviously your solicitor is there to read the legal side of things for you. So they will check all of that for you, and in the contract, it will have, where the property's been purchased from, and there might be more inquiries that come from your draft contract. Once you're happy and your solicitor gives you the okay, you will sign that contract and you will transfer 10% of the house sale price. So that will then be transferred across to the seller's solicitor, and it will be held there, and that is when you exchange. So you've exchanged at this point. You'll then book your removals, and at this point as well, you will also know your completion date, so you'll know when you're moving. At this point, you should do all your bills, let everybody know where you're moving to, your water, your council tax, all of that, make it all known when you're moving. Then you will have your completion date. Your completion date will happen, and then you'll be able to go pick the keys up on that day. And at that point, that house is now yours. And obviously, everyone needs to move. So it's very, very stressful. So that is like the whole process in a nutshell. Obviously, there's more that happens. But that whole process normally takes about 12 weeks, depending on mortgage offer and also your searches. So searches, obviously, like I say, local authority, so you can't really do much about that. Mortgage offers, banks, so again, they're great, but so, and obviously if you're a cash buyer, it can happen a lot quicker. You don't have the mortgage valuation, and you can choose not to have searches. So, it can be a lot quicker. The quickest house sale I've done is probably 6 weeks. So it can go really, really quick if you really want it to. So back onto the questions. I hope that's kind of a quick overview for you guys. I don't want it to be too boring for you, I'll be honest. So then we had, is it a good idea to get a credit card before you get your mortgage? If you're aiming to get a mortgage in 12 months time, you're going to really start saving, I would actually say the type of things that will help your credit is a phone contract, anything that's on a direct debit. So anything that's on a direct debit, not a standing order. So your rent won't help with your credit. So yeah, getting a credit card can certainly help with your credit score. What I would say is make sure each month, even just put little things on it like your fuel. Just put your fuel on it and then pay off at the end of the month. Set up a direct debit to it from your bank. But don't put a lot on it. Don't stretch yourself, because it will go against you when you go for your mortgage application if you've got a large sum of money on it. And if you can just make sure you cancel the card beforehand or keep the card open. It's really good to have a card open that only has a small amount spent on it, but you've still got a large amount that you could spend, because it proves to the banks that actually you've got £5,000 that you can spend on a credit card, but you're only choosing to spend £200 and then pay it off each month. It's actually a really good way of doing it, but you really need to be careful. That can actually really help you getting a credit card, but just be really careful. They can feel like free money, and at the end of the day, they're really not. So just make sure you're being really careful with them. Let's have a quick look. Fixed rate or variable rate, I always say fix your rate. If it's within your budget, fix your rate. Especially at the moment, fix your rate for sure. Variable rates, I just feel like for me, a fixed rate, you know what you're paying each month. Variable rates, you could be paying one thing one month, one thing the next month, and it becomes really difficult. Don't get me wrong, they work really well for some people, but actually if you're wanting to budget yourself and it's within your budget, I would always say fix your rate. So that's that question. The quality of new builds. New builds are, they're brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. And you can get really good new build builders, and you can also get terrible new build builders. Just if you are really unsure, like I said earlier, just get a structural survey done on it. At the end of the day, houses are built to last. And I would say, normally within, once your warranty wears out, don't get me wrong, things do tend to go wrong. Also be aware that there will always be shrinkage on new build properties, so you will also get the cracks around the coving and stuff. And they're normally dry lined now, so they are all stud walls, so they're not the sturdy brick walls that they once were inside. However, they are all still up to building regulations, and they are all signed off by the new build companies, so you should really still be okay. Makes me laugh when people ask that. How do you know if the property is right for you? How does anyone know that? As long as it's got what you want. Most people, for me, will walk in somewhere and just love it, and then it's for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it might not be exactly what you wanted, but as long as you love it, that's all that matters. I have a deposit for the house, but what other fees could I be paying? Clueless. Okay, so she has the money for the house. What other fees? You have got fees for your searches. You have also got fees for your solicitors as a buyer. So just bear that in mind. A lot of mortgage brokers as well will do a price to move. So they'll let you know exactly how much you'll need when moving. But obviously you'll need your furniture and things as well. But just remember your searches, normally roughly between £300 and £400. And then obviously your solicitor fees as well. So always good just to keep that in the back of your mind. Realistically, how much of a deposit do I need? I would always say 10%, but I'm no mortgage broker. When I get the mortgage man on, we'll go through that together, I promise. Let's have a quick look. What are the top things to look out for when viewing houses? This is actually a really good question. I would always say look at your neighbours. Some people don't do that. Look at like the neighbours. Have they had to do anything new? Have they got new windows or new doors? Have a look on the outside of the building to see if there's any cracks. Yes, your surveyor will pick up on that. However, it's good to know it beforehand. So look for some cracks, if there's any cracks. Look for cracks inside the property that run directly upwards as well. And as well as that, look for blown windows, because all of these things, these are the things that are going to cost more money. Try and see past what I would say is the cosmetic side of things. Look past the paintwork, look past the floor, that can all be changed. But look at like the more expensive stuff. If you can go up into the loft, great, but normally that would only be allowed on a second viewing, and it will only be if the ladder is left out, obviously, by the vendor. So if you are wanting to look in lofts, make sure you request that on your viewing. More things to look out for is any kind of subsidence. So if you go outside, if the patio is slightly bulged, or if there's movement in the garden, that's always very important. Also look out for really large trees in the local area, because it might be that they are on your boundary and you are responsible for them. And as well as that, I would say, what else to look out for? Yeah, I would say they're probably your big ones, as well as that asbestos and any climbing plants on the outside of the house. They're the other two things I would say. So back to questions. Getting a deposit together, guys, I know it's so hard. I know it's hard, but it's just how hard do you want it? If you want it hard enough, you'll literally scrimp and save everything. One of my friends literally ate beans on toast for a whole year to be able to save for our house, because she just wanted to be able, at the end of that year, to be able to say, I have a mortgage, and she was able to do it. It depends how hard you really want it. Do you really need that new piece of clothing? Do you really need that hair product? Do you really need to go on that night out? It's all the fine balance, isn't it? Yeah, live, but at the same time, how bad do you want your deposit for your house? I'm going self-employed this year. Is it going to be way harder? Being self-employed, you do usually need 2 years worth of books to be able to provide it to your mortgage advisor. So just bear that in mind. When you do go self-employed, it is going to be a longer stretch when it comes to being able to prove your earnings. Basically, banks always, they judge you on a risk factor. So they'll look at your risk and see if you're eligible to lend a large sum of money to. So if you haven't got a constant income, steady income, then obviously you're going to be a high risk to them, so they're less likely to lend to you or less likely to lend you more money. So obviously just keep that in mind. Make sure your books are all up to date. Make sure that you've got an accountant if you can, or if you need one, so that it's easy for you to be able to show and prove how much you're earning. Signs of a good area to invest in. I'm going to make this one my last one, guys. I hope that it's been quite helpful. I'm hoping. Good areas to invest. This is obviously an investment question. I would always say look at the planning. Is there a lot of money going into the local area? What are they doing to increase the local area, increase revenue? What is the university like in particular? Is there a university near? Are there good transport links? Would you rent it yourself? That is literally probably my biggest bit of advice. Would you actually rent it yourself? So there's lots of different things that come into it when it comes to investment, but that's my biggest one. How does a bankruptcy affect the buying process and the ability to get a mortgage? Look, guys, there's going to be a mortgage advisor galore here, and there's going to be so many questions that we want to put to mortgage advisors, which is fine. I'm going to have some on the YouTube channel for you. At the end of the day, you are seen as high risk. A bankruptcy lasts on your credit file for 7 years. It might be more difficult, but there should be ways around it. You know, there is always, fingers crossed, people out there that will lend to you, but I know it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. I genuinely don't understand the process. I really hope I've helped with the process. But if I haven't, then I'll have to go into more depth with it. But just remember, mortgage appointment, do your viewings, offer, then you're going to be doing your searches, surveying, then you're going to be getting your draft or your inquiries, your draft contract, which will be signed, you exchange. On exchange, you then book your completion date, and your completion date will all be booked for you. So it is difficult, and there is so much difficulty that happens along the way. Make sure also as well you really fully trust your solicitor, because your solicitor is somebody that you're going to be in contact with a lot. And also make sure you ring your solicitor. Make sure you ring your solicitor. Your estate agents will do your chain checks. They will keep in contact with the chain, let you know what's going on with the other sales if you're in a chain. But if you're not in a chain, make sure you speak to your solicitor, because a lot of solicitors as well don't want to speak to us agents. We're really annoying, I know. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Is it worse than being on Tinder? You get your hopes on a property and then it goes. Let's just say what's meant to be will always be. You'll find a better property, you'll find a property that's more suited to you. And at the end of the day, like I said, if you really want that property, you're going to have to offer more money, because unfortunately there's going to be other people out there that want that property too. Or, like I always say to anyone, people always go, oh my God, I need to look for a higher budget to get what I want. Sometimes look for a lower budget, look for less in a property, and see if you can use those extra funds to do that property up to exactly how you want it as your dream home. I really hope you've enjoyed it, guys. A little Q&A for first-time buyers. We'll do this again. Let me know, like I say, if you prefer it when I've got people on the phone with me, or if you want to be included on a Zoom. I just want to try different ways. Obviously, it's all new to me. Make sure you like and subscribe. I know we're going to be doing these kind of chats and also getting out and about, seeing properties, also looking at Faye Home. I know you're having a little insight here now, which you shouldn't be, but sorry. I literally love it. I love you all guys so much.